Classic literature can seem daunting, especially if you've never read any before or haven't read any since high school. In this video, I'll go over a few tips to get started in classic literature and give you accessible book recommendations. Woo! Personally, I really wanted to get into classic literature because I didn't read that many of them in high school. I had heard people talking about it, friends on social media, and it seemed kind of daunting, right? They kind of have this aura to them that you think that they're going to be really hard, or they're going to be really long, the language is going to be really advanced. And the first thing you should do before getting into classic literature is changing that idea that they are long and hard, because they're not. A classic is a classic because it's relevant. It's still relevant today, even hundreds of years later. A classic isn't just old. It's a book that still says something true about being a human being. It still relevantly describes the human experience. And you have different types of classics, right? You have funny ones, you have emotional ones, you have dramatic ones. Stop thinking about them as long and hard and start thinking about them as stories that just hit no matter the time period they're in, basically. And when people talk about classics, there's also modern classics. Modern classics get typecast under this word classics. There's a famous quote by the author Italo Calvino that states, "A classic is a book that has never finished saying what it has to say." And it might just speak to you. The second tip I have for you is to start small and accessible. Don't start reading the most challenging book on the bookshelf or the longest book on the bookshelf. Find a story that welcomes you in. Don't grab Ulysses. Don't grab Monte Cristo, which is 1,300 pages. I tried reading Walden by Henry David Thoreau many times, and it just exasperates you. Start with stories that welcome you. Start with stories that have themes that you are actually interested even in modern literature. If you're really into more character-driven literature, start with Pride and Prejudice or Wuthering Heights. If you're more interested in darker themes, read Dracula, read Frankenstein. And if you're really interested in social commentary, start with 1984. Start with Animal Farm. Start with Fahrenheit 451. These are all considered classics, but they're all very accessible. And if you're somebody that gets daunted by the length, start with short ones. Start with The Metamorphosis by Kafka, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, or White Nights by Dostoevsky. If modern classics seem even more accessible to you or they interest you even more, read books like The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. Read The Kite Runner or The Book Thief. These are all considered classics as well. The third tip that I'm going to give you is to remove the pressure to understand everything. There's that joke that has run over social media where it talks about how the English teacher wants you to study the meaning of the blue curtains from the book, but the blue curtains are just blue because the curtains were blue. And sometimes the curtains were blue because they were blue, but sometimes the blue curtains does have meaning. Maybe they represented sadness. Who knows? But don't pressure yourself to understand every single metaphor or every single symbol in a novel. Most people who study literature and who pick up on all these symbols have read that book many times. And literature is meant to be experienced. You're supposed to enjoy the experience of literature. So if you're putting pressure on yourself and you're like, I need to learn something, I need to be better because I'm reading this book, that's just not fun anymore, okay? Don't tell yourself that you need to do that. If you pick up on things naturally, that's great. And I hope that as a reader, you will learn to pick up on those things more naturally as you go on with your reading journey. But at the beginning, just enjoy it. Just enjoy the experience of the novel. Just like novels today are written today, right? There are novels written about COVID that in 100 years people aren't going to understand. The classical authors also wrote those books during that time period, and there's some historical detail that we're just not going to be able to pick up on. Focus on the emotions that the characters are feeling, focus on the scenes that impact you, focus on conflict. Enjoy the ride is basically what I'm trying to say. My fourth tip is to pair your reading with modern media. So pair these old books with new and fresh perspectives, with movies, TV shows, to make them feel more alive. A lot of classic literature has been adapted into movies. There's multiple adaptations. Little Women, Pride and Prejudice, Wuthering Heights is coming out with one now soon, and it looks a little bit weird. That's okay. There's also classic literature that have had modern retellings. So Barbara Kingsolver wrote Demon Copperhead, which is an amazing novel based off of David Copperfield, which is considered a classic as well. Reading that more modern version might just be more accessible. The language might be easier to understand. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can also join Book Talk. You can join BookTube. You can read threads on Reddit, right? People might have blogs on this book. People might have videos on this book. Other people's commentary might help you understand this book more. I know it does for me. My final tip is to build a reading habit and not a reading challenge. So I know on social media, people will glorify reading as many books as possible, 150 books in 1 year, or they might have some kind of classic reading challenge, which is great, but not everybody can do that, and not everybody wants to do that. So let's say, tell yourself that every 2 or 3 modern books you're going to read, you're going to put in a classic in there as well. And that's great. That's a perfect place to start. And honestly, if you're struggling a lot, don't be afraid to DNF. Just put it down. At the end of the day, getting into classic literature is really worth it. It's worth the struggle. It's worth opening up your dictionary every once in a while when there's a word that you don't understand. Getting into classic literature is not about proving you're smart. It's not about being able to refer to big giant books that people think are like human art god. It's about joining a conversation that has been happening for hundreds of years. A conversation about love, power, happiness, what it means to be human. And when one finally clicks with you, it's worth it. If you're deciding on which classic to start reading, find one with a topic that you're interested and just go with it. Enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoyed these quick tips and I hope you use them. If you're interested in more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and thanks for watching.